dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, tomorrow the trial for a man accused of killing 5 people is expected to begin. Jason Gibson faces 4 counts of murder and a fetal homicide charge after a crash in 2015 on the Hal Rogers Parkway. Police say Gibson was under the influence at the time. WYMT's Connor James joins us from the newsroom with more. Connor?
Steve, it's a story we've been following since it happened back in 2015, but it's something certainly fresh in the minds of those who lost loved ones in that crash. Charlene Lewis, Judy Pennington Adams, Tiffany Williams, and Williams' 23-month-old son, Kyson, were all killed in the crash. Williams was also 8 months pregnant at the time. The child did not survive. Lewis's daughter, Chastity Collett, says it's a painful memory, but they've been waiting years for this trial.
Nothing's ever going to make anything right, and nothing's ever going to bring Mom back or the others that were lost that day. But knowing that he has to face the consequences of his actions, you know, that helps a little.
Now, Steve, the trial will begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. in Clay County. We'll have much more on what the family had to say and their thoughts going into tomorrow, coming up at 6.
All right, Connor, thank you. The American who was kidnapped last week in Uganda is no longer in danger. Kimberly Endicott and her guide were rescued yesterday, days after being taken captive at gunpoint from Queen Elizabeth National Park. Security forces rescued the pair, and Ugandan police say the two are in good health. The kidnappers repeatedly demanded $500,000, which officials refused to pay.
That's the quickest way to get out of a situation like this, get somebody back, is pay the ransom. But again, it sets a bad precedent.
Now, in spite of warnings, a source with knowledge of the exchange says that the Wild Frontiers touring company paid the hefty ransom. A skull and a pair of pants were the only remains left behind in an attack by wild animals at Kruger National Park in South Africa. Officials believe the man, whose identity has not been released, entered the park to poach rhino with at least 3 others. They believe an elephant killed the suspected poacher. Lions then ate the man. 3 people involved in the illegal hunt were arrested. Their rifles and ammo were seized. Officials are still investigating.
Well, the weather today definitely made it feel like a Monday. We are still seeing those mostly cloudy skies and showers still working through our area. You'll notice that as we take a look at some of our cameras along Stonecrest, where we're seeing those mostly cloudy skies and some showers over there. Interstate 64 in Moorhead, you'll notice those clouds really increasing throughout the day, along with those showers increasing. And as we look at satellite and radar, those showers were pretty widespread earlier today. Now they're becoming a little bit more scattered, and will actually clear out a little bit into the overnight hours, but we're going to hang on to a few scattered chances tonight and into your Tuesday as well. So scanning the skies, you're seeing some showers down into the Cumberland Valley, really along the Kentucky and the Tennessee border, down into Wayne County, McCreary County, over into Bell, Knox, a little bit into Harlan County as well. And we're seeing most of those showers moving into the Charleston area now. Now temperatures, they're comfortable out there, those low to mid 60s, a little bit warmer out to the west. You can see in Lexington 66, 72 in Louisville, where that rain got out of there a little bit earlier today. And really, as we head through tonight, we're going to hang on to those few showers and into your Tuesday as well. Sunshine does return for your Tuesday, and those warmer temperatures, well, they continue throughout the rest of the work week as well. We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Steve.
All right, thank you, Paige. A road is back open in Leslie County following a mudslide. It happened on Kentucky 1780. The slide forced Leslie County schools to reroute a handful of their buses to get kids to school today. This is something Superintendent Brett Wilson says they have to deal with, but the cooperation of bus drivers, monitors, and state and local road personnel helps the process go faster.
Our bus drivers, they know where their kids live, and they are very effective at helping us figure out the best routes as well, because our drivers know our kids.
Kentucky 1780 again is back open now to traffic. The State Horse Racing Commission says it could be a couple of weeks before we know what went wrong this weekend, causing the death of a horse at Keeneland in Lexington. The 4-year-old filly, Cathedral Reader, broke her leg during a race Saturday. After the race, she was euthanized. This comes as scrutiny on the sport intensifies as the number of horse deaths across the country grows. Garrett Weimer has more.
The Kentucky Horse Racing Commission is working with Keeneland officials and others to investigate that death on Saturday. Right now, there's not a lot of details about it specifically, but leaders here say they are continuing to push to make horse racing safer, especially as scrutiny on the industry continues to intensify. State horse racing leaders say now it's about coming up with new ways to think about and fix an old problem. The death of Cathedral Reader at Keeneland on Saturday was the first death there this year, but the sport is increasingly under fire. 23 horses died at Santa Anita in California since December. Dr. Mary Scolet is the equine medical director for the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. She says everyone's trying to work together to make the sport as safe as possible.
Nobody benefits when a horse gets hurt. Nobody benefits. And I think the horsemen are acutely aware of the increased scrutiny for the sport across the country, that what happened in California has impacted horsemen, horses, racetracks everywhere, and we can't afford to be glib or say it's somebody else's problem.
State lawmakers on the Administrative Regulation Review Subcommittee are scheduled to meet Tuesday afternoon in Frankfort. On the agenda, a couple of substantial rule changes that Dr. Scolet says would improve the welfare of horses. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WYMT Mountain News.
Dr. Scolet says last year 36 horses died on tracks across the state. That is nearly double from the year before when there were 20. Attorney General William Barr testified in front of lawmakers this morning. He met before the House Appropriations Committee to discuss the Justice Department's fiscal 2020 budget request. The testimony comes as Barr continues to face questions about if he will publicly release Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report on the Russia probe. Some have argued that Barr's 4-page summary showing that Mueller found President Trump did not conspire or coordinate with Russia does not accurately depict the results of the investigation. More Trump administration national security officials are out one day after DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen said she is resigning. The departures are likely a part of the White House's hardline push on immigration and the swell of migrants at the southern border. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
U.S. Secret Service Director Randolph Tex Alice is leaving the Trump administration. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said Alice has done a great job at the agency over the last 2 years, and the president is thankful for his over 40 years of service. His ousting comes just a day after Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen's resignation was announced.
I share the president's goal of securing the border. I will continue to support all efforts to address the humanitarian and security crisis on the border.
A senior official also confirms that several other Homeland Security officials are leaving. The departures come as presidential advisor Stephen Miller is spearheading a massive overhaul of the Department of Homeland Security. The numbers of migrants at the southern border, particularly women and children, have surged, and the administration says it's at crisis level.
But Democratic lawmakers have blamed the administration for making the humanitarian crisis worse, pointing to the past zero-tolerance policy at the border that led to family separations last summer.
Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan will take over as acting DHS secretary.
The president works very well with Kevin McAleenan. He's done an incredible job in the administration, and we expect that relationship and the work to continue.
In addition to McAleenan, Energy Secretary Rick Perry and former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker could be in the running to replace Nielsen. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
James Murray, a career Secret Service official, is expected to take over as director of his agency beginning in May. DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen is expected to officially leave her post on Wednesday. Let's head over to Wall Street now this Monday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 83 points. Illinois is the latest state to raise its legal age to purchase tobacco products from 18 to 21 years old. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the law yesterday. It goes into effect July 1st. Pritzker says the legislation targets cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and other tobacco products, aiming to reduce tobacco use among teens and young adults by making it harder to start. This move comes 2 days after similar legislation passed in Washington state, also set to take effect later this year. The two states join 6 others that have already raised the legal smoking age to 21. Straight ahead on First at 401 School in Colorado is using funds from a surprising source to help curb bullying.
And when will that sunshine finally return? We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.